Have you ever noticed how much energy you waste on pointless worries, empty conversations, and distractions that lead nowhere? The world we live in pressures us to react quickly, to have an opinion on everything, and to fill every silence with words that serve no real purpose. But what if you chose a different path? What if you stopped worrying about things outside your control, only spoke when you truly had something meaningful to say, and directed your energy toward what actually makes a difference? True strength isn't about doing more, it's about doing better. Today, we're going to talk about how to eliminate mental noise, how to communicate with intention, and how to focus your attention on what truly drives your life forward. If you can master these three principles, you won't just see changes, you'll feel a real transformation happening inside you. And to mark this moment, I want you to write in the comments, "Today I move forward with the strength of a Stoic." This isn't just a phrase, it's a commitment, a reminder of the power that lives within you. The more you repeat it, the stronger this idea becomes in your mind. Because the words you choose for yourself have the power to shape your reality. Now it's up to you. Take this idea into your mind and, more importantly, put it into action. Let's begin. Number 1. Thoughts are just thoughts, not facts. Have you ever noticed how real thoughts can feel? So real that we end up believing them without question? We get swept away by them, treat them as absolute truths, and without realizing it, we become trapped in a storm of emotions. A single negative thought, for example, can spark anxiety and make us believe the worst-case scenario is unavoidable. But what if it's not? What if thoughts are just that, passing events in the mind, like clouds moving across the sky? They are not absolute truths. They are merely momentary interpretations. This phenomenon is called cognitive fusion, when we identify so strongly with our thoughts that we start to believe they define who we are. If we think, "I'm a failure," we instantly feel like it's true. If the idea, "I'll never make it," comes up, we act like it's a guaranteed outcome. But here's the truth. Thoughts are not facts. They are just mental events, often influenced by fleeting emotions, past experiences, or unconscious associations. What we think doesn't always reflect reality, and the Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that it's not the events themselves that affect us, but rather the interpretation we give them. Suffering doesn't come from the outside world. It comes from the story we tell ourselves about what happens. A thought by itself holds no power. We are the ones who choose whether or not to give it importance. The Stoics practice the separation between what is within our control and what is not. And here's a crucial point. Thoughts arise spontaneously, but we can observe them without getting swept away. So how do we apply this in real life? Recognize your thoughts without identifying with them. Instead of saying, "This is true," say to yourself, "Look at that. This thought came up again." Think of them as clouds passing by. They're not permanent. They're not you. Question your thoughts. Ask yourself, is this really true? Do I have concrete evidence? Or is it just an assumption? Does this thought help me? Or does it only make me feel worse? Creating this distance reduces the power of your reactive mind. Tame your thoughts. Instead of saying, "I'm a failure," reframe it as, "I'm having the thought that I'm a failure." It may seem like a small detail, but that change weakens the grip those thoughts have on you. Remember, thoughts don't require immediate action. Just because your mind says, "I'm not good enough," doesn't mean you have to believe it or act on it. Let it pass. Imagine you're at a train station and your thoughts are the trains going by. Some are calm, others uncomfortable or even frightening. But you don't have to get on any of them. You can simply watch them and let them go. And mindfulness is a powerful ally in this. Paying attention to your breath, staying present in the moment, and noticing your thoughts come and go without clinging to them is a powerful exercise. Over time, you'll develop the ability to choose which thoughts to focus on and which to ignore. In the end, the greatest lesson is this: you are not your mind. Thoughts appear, but they don't control you, unless you let them. When you understand this, anxiety lessens, overthinking loses its grip, and you begin to feel freer. You don't have to believe everything you think. You have a choice, and that is one of the greatest freedoms we can ever gain. 2. The strength of those who don't need to prove anything. Talking is easy. The world we live in has taught us that the louder you speak, the more power you have. That quick response is equal intelligence, that silence is weakness. But what if all of that was wrong? What if true power lies in what you choose not to say? Arthur Schopenhauer understood this well. Many times, the greatest wisdom is in silence, in the strength not to react impulsively, in the patience to listen without the urge to speak, in the discipline to control your ego when every part of you wants to respond. The problem is, most people don't listen to understand. They listen to reply. While someone is talking, they're already preparing their next argument. Silence, on the other hand, lets you see beyond words. It gives you a chance to notice hidden intentions, masked emotions, and even the insecurities behind someone's speech. But silence is not passivity. It doesn't mean submission or weakness. Used wisely, silence is a powerful tool that can bring clarity and control in situations where others get lost in chaos and impulse. In a conflict, the one who stays calm has the advantage. In the face of provocation, the one who doesn't react right away holds the power. In a world where everyone wants to speak at the same time, the one who knows when to stay silent stands out. The Stoics knew this centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul grows stronger when it remains calm in the midst of the world's noise. Not everything needs a response. Not every attack deserves a defense. Not every situation calls for an explanation. Sometimes silence speaks louder than any word. Many battles are not won through speeches, but through the absence of them. When you don't react to what doesn't deserve your energy, you let the noise consume itself. When you choose to observe instead of rushing to speak, you begin to see what others overlook. And when you learn to feel comfortable in silence, you discover you never had to prove anything to anyone. The greatest challenge isn't speaking well. It's knowing when not to speak. In a world that's constantly shouting, the one who chooses silence is the one who holds the power. So before filling the next moment of silence with unnecessary words, pause and ask yourself, does this really need to be said, or is silence already saying everything? 3. Where is your attention focused? That was the question asked by Cicero's mentor, and it was enough to completely shift his worldview. Until that moment, like most people, he spent much of his time analyzing what was happening around him: politics, the economy, other people's luck, and external circumstances. But then he realized something essential. As long as his attention was turned outward, his own life wouldn't change. Real progress never comes when your focus is external. It happens when you decide to look inward and start working on what's truly under your control. It's easy to fall into the trap of blaming the world for your difficulties. To think that if the conditions were different, if we had more resources, if the people around us were more understanding, then we'd be able to move forward. But the truth is, the conditions will never be perfect. There will always be challenges. There will always be something working against you. If you're waiting for the world to align in your favor so your life can improve, you'll spend your life waiting. Real change starts within you. It doesn't matter how many opportunities are out there if you're not prepared to take advantage of them. It doesn't matter how much status you have if you're not able to offer something of real value. And it doesn't matter how often you complain about the world's injustice if you're not taking action to improve your own situation. The difference between those who grow and those who remain stuck is not in their circumstances, but in how each person chooses to face them. When you focus on yourself, everything around you loses its power to control you. You stop worrying about who has more advantages because you understand that this does not define your destiny. You stop comparing yourself to others because you realize that your only true point of reference is yourself. You stop wasting energy on complaints and start investing that energy in what truly matters, your growth. Stoicism teaches exactly this. Focus on what you can control and let go of what's beyond your reach. Marcus Aurelius said that our happiness and well-being depend on the quality of our thoughts, not on what happens around us. You can't control other people's choices, but you can choose how you respond to them. You can't change the past or predict the future, but you can decide what you do in the present. You can't avoid life's challenges, but you can prepare to face them with strength and calm. So the question that really matters is, what are you investing your time in? How many hours of your day are truly dedicated to improving your skills, strengthening your mind, caring for your body, and building something meaningful? Or are you spending your energy on distractions, comparisons, and empty complaints? Because the truth is simple. Every minute you spend watching someone else's life is a minute lost building your own. Read more. Learn something new every day. Take care of your body. Build discipline. Work on projects that move you closer to your goals. Stop wasting energy on things that don't add value. You don't need other people's approval to grow. You don't need perfect conditions to begin. All you need is to decide to invest in yourself and keep moving forward, no matter the obstacles. Because when you shift your focus, your life begins to change. Instead of worrying about what others have, you start building what's yours. Instead of complaining about difficulties, you ask what you can do to improve. Instead of waiting for the world to give you something, you start creating your own path. And when that happens, you realize something powerful. The power was always in your hands. It always was. You just needed to change your perspective. 4. The power of focusing on what makes you grow. When the mind gets stuck on thoughts about someone, it's easy to fall into a cycle of memories, emotions, and assumptions. But here's the truth. What you feed your mind grows. If you keep reinforcing these thoughts, they become harder and harder to control. But if you decide to redirect your attention to something bigger, something that truly drives you forward, bit by bit, these thoughts will lose their power. This doesn't mean ignoring what you feel, but it's about training your mind not to get stuck in a cycle that leads nowhere. Every time you notice your mind wandering to where it shouldn't, stop. Don't criticize yourself. Don't feel bad about it. Just observe and consciously change direction. Instead of diving into the past, ask yourself, how can I use this energy to move closer to my goals? That's the key. The same energy you waste on useless thoughts could be used to build something, to grow, to move forward. At first, it might seem difficult, almost impossible. The brain is used to following the same paths, the same patterns. But neuroscience proves that the mind is flexible, and with repetition and practice, you can reprogram your thoughts and create new mental pathways. What once held you back will, over time, lose its power over you. It's not about repressing emotions. It's about reframing how you deal with them. Don't see this as a battle against your mind, but as a process of re-education. When you notice you're getting off track, bring your attention back. Not just once, but every time it happens. It won't always be easy. There will be days when it feels natural and others when it's a challenge. But consistency changes everything. Stoicism teaches that we can't control what happens around us, but we can control how we react. If you keep allowing your mind to get lost in distractions and unproductive thoughts, you'll never have mental freedom. But with discipline and practice, that freedom is achievable. Epictetus said that it's not things that disturb us, but the interpretation we give to them. If you see your situation as a problem, it will be an obstacle. But if you decide to see it as an opportunity to grow, that same circumstance becomes a stepping stone to something greater. That's why you need to make reorientation a habit. It's not enough to try once or twice. It's a commitment to yourself. Set your goals. Write them down. Every time your mind starts to wander, take a concrete action to get closer to them. Read something that adds value. Practice a skill. Visualize yourself achieving what you want. The important thing is to teach your mind that there is a better way. And over time, you'll notice something powerful. Not only will these thoughts lose their power, but you'll begin to feel a real sense of control over your life. The feeling of building something, of having mastery over yourself, is infinitely more satisfying than any memory of the past. So commit. Train your mind to focus on what truly matters. Stop wasting time on what doesn't add value. Use every thought as an opportunity to grow, because in the end, the direction of your life is defined by where you choose to focus your attention. 5. The art of accepting and moving forward. Life will never be a predictable path. It doesn't bend to our desires, nor does it guarantee that everything will go as planned. At some point, we all face challenges, losses, and uncertainties. But what truly makes us suffer is not the events themselves, it's our resistance to them. We spend so much time stuck on "this shouldn't have happened" or "what if things had been different," that we forget to deal with what truly matters, the now. The problem is not what happens, but how we react to it. Accepting reality doesn't mean giving up, far from it. It means stopping the waste of energy fighting the inevitable. Pain is part of the process. The unexpected is part of the game. Life won't wait for us to be ready, nor will it protect us from failures or frustrations. But we can choose how we face each situation, and that choice defines everything. True strength is not in avoiding pain, but in moving forward despite it. Resilience is not just about enduring the weight of difficulties, but learning from every hit, growing with each fall, and turning obstacles into fuel to move forward. You can cling to what you lost, or use that loss as a springboard for a new path. You can mourn what didn't work out, or use the experience to avoid repeating the same mistakes. You can live frustrated with what you can't change, or accept and adapt in the best way possible. The Stoics understood this truth centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If something external hurts you, the pain does not come from the event itself, but from your interpretation of it." In other words, what hurts you is not what happens, but the story you tell yourself about what happened. And that story, you can rewrite. You can't control many things in life. You can't avoid all difficulties. You can't change the past. But you can decide what to do with all of it. So instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Life is not made up only of good moments, but you are capable of facing any difficult moment. And in the end, it will not be the absence of problems that defines your strength, but how you chose to overcome them. 6. Stop seeking approval from others. Have you noticed how much time and energy you waste trying to control how others see you? Maybe without even realizing it. You measure your words to avoid judgment, adjust your behavior to be accepted, or hide parts of who you really are to avoid displeasing others. But no matter how hard you try, you will never have control over other people's perceptions. Each person views the world through their own experiences, insecurities, and beliefs. You can act with the best intentions and still be criticized, misunderstood, or underestimated. And if your happiness depends on others' approval, you will never be free. The search for approval is a trap. At first, it seems harmless. You want to be liked, respected, recognized. But over time, this need becomes a prison. You force yourself to meet expectations that aren't even yours. You live based on what others think and lose your authenticity in the process. And the most ironic thing is, even if you manage to please everyone, it will never be enough. There will always be someone who disagrees with you, who doesn't understand your worth, or who simply doesn't like who you are. So why keep trying to control the uncontrollable? The Stoics taught this truth centuries ago. We cannot control others' opinions, but we can control how we react to them. Epictetus said that worrying about what others think is a form of slavery, because it places our worth in the hands of others. True freedom comes when you stop seeking external validation and start living according to what truly matters to you, your values, your choices, your own path. Think about how many times you've held back from saying something because of fear of others' reactions. How many times have you pretended to agree just to avoid conflict? How many times have you suppressed your desires so as not to disappoint anyone? But the real question is, until when? If you continue living to be accepted by others, you'll never be accepted by yourself. Free yourself from that need. Be who you truly are, without asking for permission. Because in the end, the only approval that really matters is yours. 7. Silence as a path to clarity and purpose. The world never falls silent. From the moment we wake up until the time we go to sleep, we are surrounded by noise, constant information, constant notifications, other people's opinions. Every time a pause appears, we quickly fill it with screens, shallow conversations, distractions, keeping us away from what truly matters, ourselves. But if we never make space for silence, how can we know what we really want? How can we hear our own voice if we're always busy listening to others? Silence is not a void. It is a space where the mind can breathe, where new ideas can emerge, where the answers we've been searching for finally appear. It is in the quiet that we can ask ourselves, am I living according to what I really want? Or am I just reacting to others' expectations? Without noise, without distractions, just you and your thoughts. And that's exactly what scares so many people. Silence forces us to face doubts and questions we prefer to ignore. It confronts us with our insecurities, our contradictions, our truths. But instead of fearing it, we should see it as a powerful tool, because it is in silence that we find what truly makes sense to us. Maybe you're pursuing a goal that was never truly yours. Maybe you're following a path just because someone told you it was the right one. Maybe you're living on autopilot, never stopping to reflect if this is really the life you want. But when you allow yourself to be in silence, you begin to see everything with more clarity. The Stoics understood this well. Seneca said that from time to time, we must withdraw from the world's noise to reflect on our own life. This doesn't mean distancing yourself from everything permanently, but creating moments to ask yourself if you're living with intention or just going with the flow. If we don't take these pauses, we run the risk of spending years chasing things that, in the end, don't fulfill us. The truth is, the answers we're searching for are not outside, but within us. You don't need others' approval to know what is right. You don't need someone to validate your decisions. What you need is to learn to listen to yourself, and that only happens when you create space for reflection. It doesn't have to be a formal meditation or a retreat in nature. It can be something simple. Turn off your phone for a few minutes. Step away from the noise. Be in silence with yourself. And then ask yourself, am I where I want to be? Am I heading in the right direction? Are my decisions aligned with what truly matters to me? The answers won't come immediately, but over time they will emerge. And when they do, trust them. Introspection is where you find direction. And when you learn to connect with silence, you discover that silence is not the absence of something. It is the presence of everything that truly matters. 8. The silence that heals. We live in a constant state of escape. We fill every minute of our day with distractions, music, social media, meaningless conversations. Not because we enjoy the noise, but because we fear what might arise in the silence. Because silence forces us to face what we avoid. The pain we ignore doesn't disappear. It hides, transforms into tension in the body, into insomnia, into impulsive decisions. It makes us relive the past, or worry about a future that hasn't even arrived yet. And if we never give ourselves the space to listen to what we carry inside, how can we heal? Silence may seem uncomfortable at first. It brings to the surface emotions we've tried to suppress, thoughts we've avoided. But what if, instead of running away, we simply stop to listen, without distractions, without trying to fix everything immediately? Just feeling. Healing happens when we stop resisting. It's not about erasing the pain, but giving it a place to exist without fear. It doesn't mean suffering more. It means suffering with awareness. The Stoics taught that it's not what happens that causes us suffering, but how we deal with it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that pain only harms us when we let it dominate us internally. What happens if, instead of fighting what's already past, we simply accept what is present? What if we look at our wounds as something to understand, not as a burden to carry forever? Silence is the space where this understanding arises. Without the interference of external noise, we can ask ourselves, why is this pain still here? What can I learn from this? How can I move forward without carrying this weight? And most of the time, the answer doesn't come from thought. It comes from acceptance itself. You don't need to disappear from the world to experience this healing. Small moments of silence throughout the day can already be a new beginning. 5 minutes without distractions can bring more clarity than hours of frustrated attempts to forget what hurts. When you allow silence to fill the spaces, something changes. What seemed unbearable starts to lose its power. What seemed confusing begins to organize itself. What felt like endless suffering transforms into learning. Healing doesn't happen in an instant, but every time you choose to stop and feel, you're one step closer to liberation. Silence is not absence, it is presence. It's where you can finally begin to rebuild yourself. 9. Quiet the stress. Peace is in the stillness. Stress infiltrates every corner of our lives. It's present in the body, the mind, and the decisions we make when we're exhausted. We get used to living in a constant state of alertness, with racing thoughts, a pressure that never fully disappears. But stress doesn't only come from what's happening around us. It mainly arises from our inability to take pauses. We live surrounded by noise, notifications, demands, and worries, keeping us tense all the time. We barely open our eyes in the morning, and already we're checking messages, planning the day, anticipating problems before they even arise. And in the midst of all this, we forget what's essential. Silence is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Studies show that moments of stillness reduce cortisol levels, the stress hormone. The simple act of being in an environment without noise, without distractions, allows the nervous system to slow down, the breath to deepen, and the body to escape the constant state of tension. It's like giving the mind a rest after hours of nonstop running. When you allow yourself to be silent, even for a few minutes, something changes. The thoughts stop racing over each other. The mind stops reacting impulsively to every stimulus. That tightness in your chest begins to lessen. It's a mental reset, a pause that helps you see things more clearly. What once seemed overwhelming loses its intensity. What seemed urgent may not even be that important after all. Silence brings perspective. It gives you back control over your mind. The Stoics taught that most of our worries don't come from the events themselves, but from the way we interpret them. Marcus Aurelius wrote that if something external disturbs you, the pain doesn't come from the event itself, but from your perception of it. In silence, you can observe your thoughts without being dominated by them. You can notice when you're exaggerating a problem. You can see when a situation is taking more of your balance than it should. And in this observation, you find freedom. Don't wait until you're completely drained to seek silence. Make it a daily habit, little by little. 5 minutes without speaking, without music, without distractions. A moment of stillness in the morning before starting your day. A breath before bed. A pause in the middle of the day just to close your eyes and disconnect. This isn't wasting time. It's giving your mind what it needs to stay strong. Stress doesn't disappear with more noise, with more distractions. It dissolves when you learn to find peace and stillness, when you stop filling every second with unnecessary stimuli and allow yourself to simply be. Because in silence, you don't just rest. You reconnect with yourself, and that is the best answer to the chaos of life. 10. Speak less, say more. Words are like arrows. Once released, they cannot be retrieved. Yet we often speak without thinking, as if silence were an enemy to be avoided. The reality, however, is different. Silence is a powerful ally. Those who know how to use it have time to reflect, to measure their words, and to avoid saying something that cannot be undone. Often what is left unsaid has more impact than a sea of words thrown into the wind. Mastering the pause in communication. How many times have we spoken impulsively and then felt the weight of our words? A hasty comment, an unsolicited opinion, an unnecessary phrase. All of these can come back to haunt us. It's not about avoiding speech, but about learning to speak with intention. Saying less doesn't mean saying little. It means choosing better what we say. Well-chosen words have a weight that no excess of talk can match. Stoicism teaches that self-control includes control over our words. Epictetus said we have 2 ears and only 1 mouth, because we should listen more than we speak. A wise person is not the one who says everything they think, but the one who thinks before they speak. An excess of words dilutes their power. When someone speaks non-stop, people stop listening. But when someone chooses their words carefully, each one carries more impact. The people who truly inspire are not those who fill the air with empty phrases, but those who know when to speak and when to be silent. Silence gives us time to think. It allows us to observe the situation, understand our emotions, and respond with wisdom instead of reacting impulsively. A well-timed pause can convey more authority than a whole speech. Not every moment needs to be filled with words. Sometimes silence is the most powerful response. In the right moments, speaking less means speaking better. In an argument, silence can prevent unnecessary conflict. In a speech, a pause can capture the audience's attention. In a meaningful conversation, a moment of reflection can give more weight to words. Knowing when to speak and when to be silent is a skill that transforms how we communicate. Learning to choose our words is a process. It doesn't mean repressing our voice, but using it with wisdom. Before speaking, ask yourself, is this necessary? Is it useful? Is it true? If the answer is no, perhaps silence is the best choice. A word spoken without thought can destroy relationships, cause misunderstandings, or harm a reputation. On the other hand, a well-chosen word can inspire, heal, and strengthen bonds. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, true power lies with those who know how to listen. It's not about speaking louder, but about speaking better. If our words are few but meaningful, they will have much more impact. If we speak with purpose and not habit, people will truly listen. You don't need to prove what you know with an endless flow of words. The true sign of wisdom is having self-control, even in how we express ourselves. So the next time you feel the impulse to speak without thinking, remember, silence is also an option. Speaking less and thinking more is a sign of intelligence, maturity, and control, because true strength is not in speaking non-stop. It's in knowing when it's truly worth speaking. 11. Progress, not perfection, the power of moving forward. Perfection is a myth. We've been led to believe that it's the standard to be reached, the ultimate goal, the proof that we are good enough. But in reality, perfection is a horizon that can never be reached. Every time you think you're close, it moves further away. No matter how hard you try, there will always be something to improve, something that could have been done differently, a feeling that you're still not ready. And that's the trap. If you wait to be perfect to take action, you'll never do anything. What truly matters is not perfection, but progress. Growing a little bit every day holds far more value than chasing an unattainable ideal. Think about it. What makes the difference in someone's life? Those who keep moving forward despite failures, or those who stay paralyzed waiting for the perfect moment? The answer is clear. Those who learn from mistakes, who keep going despite difficulties, who choose to improve instead of just planning, these are the ones who truly achieve something. Stoicism teaches us that absolute control is an illusion. You cannot control every detail of the external world. Marcus Aurelius said that what truly belongs to us are our thoughts, our actions, and our attitude. You can't guarantee perfection, but you can guarantee effort, and that is the true power. The search for perfection generates doubt, insecurity, and frustration, while progress brings freedom. When you understand that you don't need to be flawless, you begin to see value in every small step forward. You stop punishing yourself for mistakes and start learning from them. You stop comparing yourself to others and start measuring your growth based on who you were yesterday. This is the mindset that really takes you far. No journey has a perfect endpoint. The true goal is not to arrive flawless at the end, but to evolve continuously along the way. If you look back, you'll see that many of the things you now master started as great challenges. The first time you tried something, you made mistakes, hesitated, stumbled, but you kept going. If you had waited to be perfect from the start, you would have never begun. This applies to everything: learning a skill, starting a project, transforming your life. Imperfect action is always more valuable than paralysis by the fear of failure. The fear of imperfection stops us from speaking because we're afraid of saying something wrong. It stops us from creating because we fear criticism. It stops us from trying because we believe we're not good enough yet. But no one becomes excellent overnight. Every skill, every achievement, every great transformation comes from small daily advances. Think of someone who wants to write a book but never starts because they think their words aren't perfect. Or someone who wants to train but doesn't start because they don't have the ideal routine. Or someone who wants to learn a language but never speaks because they're afraid of making mistakes. They're all trapped in the same cycle, waiting for the perfect moment, while the opportunity to grow passes them by. Life is not about doing things perfectly, it's about doing them consistently. What really matters is not arriving at the destination without flaws, but walking every day, learning and improving along the way. Every mistake teaches you something. Every attempt gives you more experience. So stop demanding perfection from yourself and start demanding movement. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Value what you've learned instead of focusing on what's still missing. Every step you take is a victory. Every effort is proof that you're still moving forward. Don't let the fear of making mistakes stop you from acting. You don't need to be perfect to start. You just need the courage to take the first step and the commitment to keep moving forward. Because true greatness is not about being flawless, it's about being relentless. 12. Look at yourself and reflect. No excuses, no justifications, no comforting stories to ease your conscience for a moment. Be brutally honest with yourself. Are you really where you wanted to be? If the answer is no, ask yourself, what part of this is my responsibility? It's easy to blame destiny, circumstances, or the people around you. But what if instead of looking outward, you began to look inward? Because that's where real progress begins. This doesn't mean punishing yourself, drowning in guilt, or seeing yourself as a failure. It means having the courage to recognize what's not working and deciding to do something about it. Because if you don't do it, no one else will. Being honest with yourself hurts. It means accepting that maybe you haven't tried hard enough, that you let opportunities slip by, that you settled for less than you are capable of achieving, that you allowed your fears, laziness, or excuses to dictate your life. But that pain is necessary, because only when we accept reality without illusions can we begin to change it. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control everything that happens around us, but we can control how we react to it. Epictetus said that it's not the circumstances that make us suffer, but the way we interpret them. If you see your life as a collection of injustices that held you back, you'll stay stuck in them. But if you see each moment as a choice that can be changed, you reclaim the power over your own life. The key is not blame, it's responsibility. So ask yourself, what aspects of my life are holding me back? What habits, thoughts, or attitudes keep me stuck in the same place? Maybe you complain about the lack of time, but spend hours on pointless distractions. Maybe you say you want to change, but avoid anything that takes you out of your comfort zone. Maybe you dream of a better future, but keep repeating the same mistakes. If you want to move forward, stop fooling yourself. You can't change what you refuse to see. If your relationships are full of conflict, maybe the problem isn't always the other person. If you feel like you never achieve your goals, maybe you haven't been as consistent as you think. If you lack motivation, maybe you haven't found a real purpose yet. Look at yourself honestly and ask without fear, what in my life is under my responsibility to change? But being honest with yourself doesn't just mean recognizing your failures. It also means seeing your strengths, identifying what you're good at, recognizing what you've already achieved, and realizing what resources you already have to keep growing. You are not a failure. You're not doomed to stay the same. You have the ability, you have a choice, you have the power. But none of that matters if you don't have the courage to face the truth and act. Reflecting without acting changes nothing. It's no use realizing what's wrong if you don't do anything to change it. You don't have to solve everything at once, but you do need to take the first step. Maybe it's abandoning a habit that harms you. Maybe it's starting to learn something new. Maybe it's distancing yourself from people who just hold you back. Whatever it is, start. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for everything to be clear before acting. Clarity comes with movement. Confidence comes from small victories. Personal transformation is not an event, it's a process. And this process begins when you have the courage to look at yourself in the mirror and speak the truth. So stop waiting for your life to change on its own. It won't. Life doesn't improve because it's supposed to. Life improves when you decide to improve it. Be honest with yourself, identify what's not working, and have the courage to change, because in the end, the only person who can transform your life is you. 13. What sustains a strong life? Your mind is the soil where your reality grows. If you fill it with doubt, fear, and negativity, that's what you'll harvest. But if you plant thoughts of growth, learning, and self-discipline, your life will take a different direction. What you mentally consume defines how you see the world and how you react to it. What are you reading? What kind of conversations are you having? Where are you directing your attention every day? The mind is like a muscle. If you exercise it with useful knowledge, questioning, and inspiration, it strengthens. But if you neglect it, it weakens, and you end up stuck in automatic thought cycles that lead nowhere. Your body is the vehicle that will take you where you want to go. You may have big dreams, but if your energy is low, if you're always tired, if you neglect your health, the price will be paid sooner or later. Success requires vitality. You can't give your best if you eat poorly, if you never exercise, if you ignore the importance of rest. It's not about aesthetics, it's about functionality. A strong body supports a strong mind. The discipline you apply to your body reflects in all areas of your life. Are you taking care of the engine that will drive you forward, or are you wearing it down with habits that only weaken you? Your relationships are a reflection of who you are. It's not about how many people are around you, but the quality of those connections. Surrounding yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you to grow, and encourage you to step out of your comfort zone is essential. But more importantly, it's about becoming that person for others. If your relationships are full of conflict, or if you feel that the people around you drag you down, ask yourself, what am I projecting? Relationships don't improve when we demand more from others, but when we demand more from ourselves. If you want respect, be a respectable person. If you want loyalty, be someone others can trust. If you want support, learn to give without expecting anything in return. The quality of your relationships is a direct reflection of the person you've become. Money is not everything, but the lack of it can make everything harder. Your financial habits determine your economic future. If you spend recklessly, don't learn to manage money, or never invest in your education, you'll always be chasing money instead of making it work for you. It's not just how much you earn, but how you handle what you have. Do you save or spend impulsively? Do you educate yourself financially or repeat the same mistakes? True freedom isn't having more money, it's knowing how to manage it. Learn about investments, eliminate unnecessary debt, and develop the skill of generating income strategically. It's not about working more, but working smarter. Stoicism teaches us that true success is not found in the external, but in the internal. Seneca said that a poor person is not one who has little, but one who desires more than they truly need. Balance is essential. If you have a strong mind but a weak body, you'll lack energy. If you have good health but toxic relationships, stress will destroy you. If you have good relationships but financial problems, the pressure will consume you. All areas are connected. If you neglect one, all others will be affected. Look at your life honestly and ask yourself, what am I neglecting? Where do I need to improve? It doesn't have to be solved all at once, but you need to start somewhere. Maybe it's time to strengthen your mental discipline. Maybe it's time to take better care of your health. Maybe you need to surround yourself with people who elevate you. Or maybe it's time to learn how to manage money better. The important thing is not to delay anymore. Success isn't about perfection. It's about continuous progress. Every day you have the chance to strengthen these pillars. What matters is not where you are now, but where you're heading. Life is a building process, and every choice you make is another brick in the foundation of your success. Make sure you're building on a solid base. 14. Stop going in circles. Have a plan for your growth. If you don't have a plan, you're drifting. No matter how much you want to change, if you don't know exactly where you're going, any path will seem right, and you'll waste time on things that lead nowhere. The difference between those who move forward and those who stay stuck isn't in talent, luck, or intelligence. The difference is in clarity. What do you want to achieve? How do you plan to get there? What are the concrete steps to reach that goal? Without clear answers, you're not building, you're just dreaming. Vague goals don't work. I want to improve. Improve what? I want to be successful. What does that mean to you? I want to be fit. To what level do you want to reach? If your goals are ambiguous, your effort will be too. Define numbers, define deadlines, define specific actions. If your goal is financial independence, how much money do you need to earn? How will you generate that income? What can you start doing today to get closer to that? If your goal is to improve your health, what habits do you need to change right now? Without a plan, your goals are just wishes in the air. And it's not enough to write down goals, you need a system. Most people set resolutions at the beginning of the year and forget about them in a few weeks. Why? Because they never turn them into habits. Success doesn't come from big leaps, but from small habits repeated every day. If you want to expand your mind, what are you reading daily? If you want a stronger body, how are you eating and exercising? Professionally, what skills are you developing right now? Stoicism teaches that we don't control everything around us, but we control our actions. Epictetus said that what matters is not the circumstances, but how we respond to them. Maybe you have more obstacles than others. Maybe you have fewer opportunities. Maybe you're starting from scratch. But the question is, what are you doing with what you have? A solid plan keeps you on track, even when things don't go as expected. Make a list of your goals for the next 5 years, but be realistic. Don't just think about what you'd like to have, but about what you're willing to work for. Now break those goals down into smaller objectives. If you want to learn a language in 5 years, what can you do this year to make progress? If you want financial stability, what changes can you make this month to better manage your money? Big transformations are the result of small daily choices. It's not enough to create a plan and forget about it. Track your progress. If you notice you're not moving forward, adjust your strategy. Don't get frustrated if things don't go as planned. The plan is not rigid, it's a compass. What's important is not to follow the plan to the letter, but not to lose direction. The difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't is not in desire, intention, or motivation. It's in action. Being inspired is easy. Writing big goals is too. But inspiration fades quickly. What makes you move forward is not the excitement of the moment, it's the discipline to act even when you don't feel like it. If you really want to change, you need a commitment to yourself. No one will hand you a perfect plan. No one will motivate you every day. It's you who needs to get up and take the next step, even if it's small, even if it seems insignificant, even if the results aren't visible yet. So ask yourself now, what did I do today to get closer to the life I want to have in 5 years? If the answer is nothing, then it's time to change. Stop waiting for the right moment. It doesn't exist. The best way to predict your future is to build it day by day. 15. Small actions create big changes. The quality of your life is not defined by the big moments, but by what you do every day. It's not the promises you make for the future, nor the dreams you keep in your mind. What truly shapes your destiny are the small actions you repeat constantly, the habits you practice when no one is watching, the automatic decisions you make without realizing, the way you organize your mornings, afternoons, and nights. This is what determines your success or failure. It's not about waiting for giant opportunities. It's about turning the ordinary into something extraordinary. The difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck is not in luck or opportunities. It's in how each person handles the day-to-day. No one becomes successful overnight. Big changes are built with small daily improvements. It might seem insignificant to do 10 minutes of exercise, read a few pages before bed, wake up and go to sleep at the same time. But these small actions accumulated over time make a huge difference. Stoicism teaches us that discipline should be practiced not only in big challenges, but also in the small habits of daily life. Seneca said that life is like a play. It doesn't matter how long it lasts, but how we perform it. And the way we perform our lives is directly linked to our routines. You cannot expect a great destiny if you don't take care of the small habits that lead to it. So, look at your day. How do you start your morning? Do you wake up with energy or start the day with laziness? Do you take control of your time or do you let inertia take over? Do you eat well or always choose the easiest and quickest option? Every detail matters. Every daily choice either brings you closer to your goal or pushes you further away. If you improve your daily routine, you improve your life. You don't need to change everything at once, just improve a little every day. Maybe it's eating more balanced meals. Maybe it's starting to move more. Maybe it's stopping the waste of time on distractions that don't add value. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be a little better than yesterday. The key is consistency. It's no use making a huge effort for one single day and then giving up. True progress comes from small daily improvements. The person you are today is the result of the choices you've made over the past months and years. And the person you'll be tomorrow depends on what you decide to do from now on. Don't underestimate the power of small changes. A 5-minute habit can transform your life. A simple change in diet can improve your health in the long run. Choosing to get up with intention instead of laziness can set the energy for your entire day. So ask yourself now, what routine can I improve? What small adjustment can I make to make my life more productive? And don't wait for the perfect moment. Start today. Improve what can be improved and turn it into part of your lifestyle. Because in the end, it's the small daily actions that build an extraordinary life. I truly hope this message has been helpful. I sincerely congratulate you for making it this far and completing the video. That means you want to improve as a person. If you liked the video, leave a comment saying gratitude, so I'll know you watched until the end. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, What are you waiting for? Subscribe now and join us. Plus, Stoicism is full of teachings like this that are applicable to our daily lives. So I encourage you to keep learning about this philosophy. I'll leave here 2 videos full of wisdom for you to keep learning. Until next time.